What I'm showing you how to do today is how to prepare the millet. This is how you boil it. I got 2 large pots, one larger pot than the other. If I had another pot this size, I would use 2 pots that size. I get my millet in 50-pound bags, and what you want to do is fill it up about halfway with millet in the container itself, because when it starts absorbing water, it's going to expand and it's going to take up the entire pot before it's over with, and you need to be able to account for that when it's boiling. That's this part of it. Still boiling. It takes about a half hour or more for it to boil completely. So the grains are done, at least in this pot. Come on closer a little bit. This is what they're supposed to look like. You got a close view. They're supposed to have grains that are busted up and grains that are a little more plump because they've been boiled and had absorbed the water near it. What you want is the ones to pop to make sure that everything else is done the right way. About 30% of them should pop, and about 70% of them should be whole pieces by the time you're done. Okay, this is my strainer that I made from Home Depot parts, 2x4s. The screen that I'm using is made for mesh to go over your screen doors. You can buy it for like $10, $15 at Home Depot, Lowe's, any home improvement store would have. This is to strain the water away from it and to give it a place to dry in the sun. What you really want to do is dry the outsides and keep the moisture on the insides after you boil them. That way, the mycelium, when it moves across the grains, it will have moisture and hydration to live so that it will colonize your entire jar. But you can't colonize it with wet grains. You have to dry the outsides out and make sure the insides still have water on the inside, which is important to do on warm days so that you'll be able to get rid of all the excess moisture. Okay, this is the grains when they've been done. They're about as dry as they're going to be. This is how you do it. I got a plastic scoop so I don't mess up my screen. And what you want to do is load them in your jars about 2/3 of the way. You know what 2/3 is? You'll be fine. Don't want to overload it because you'll have trouble colonizing if you basically put too much in. 1 jar at a time. Like I said, you don't want to overload them or you'll basically not be able to colonize them all the way because you won't have enough air getting into the gap at the top where it should be getting in. Okay, now we want to put the lids on. The lids is a combination of the screw down, the filter piece, and a lid that you cut holes into. 2 small, about 1/4 inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch holes. That way you'll be able to get air circulation. And then you screw them down on top with the filter on disc on top. That way air can circulate inside the jars. That way they don't contaminate. And the sterilizer next. What you want to do when you're getting ready for a sterilizer is you put a little bit of aluminum foil on the top so that the filter disc stays dry when it's going through the pressure cooker. I use two 23-quart Presto pressure cookers. You could also use an autoclave if you had money enough to buy one of those. But I use pressure cookers because you get these for $200 new on Amazon, or you buy a good used one for about $100 on eBay. Fasten the lid down. And you got to make sure you have good gaskets. I just changed these gaskets to both brand new. They slide perfectly. Put the heat on high, and you come back in a couple minutes, and we'll see where it gets up to 15 psi. When it gets up to here, we're going to basically turn the pressure down so that it stabilizes. Got it? Okay, this is what we've been waiting for. 15 psi. 15 psi. Now we fine tune the stove to bring the heat down so that it stabilizes at 15 psi, and we set the timer 90 minutes. And that's it. That's grain prep. I don't really mind hesitating when I feel I should, 'cause I know I can gravitate, and baby, count me